Hi and welcome. Richard Lee here today with the Weeping Heart Tomahawk from Coldsteel. It's a new item for 2020. When I first saw this hawk, I was not thrilled to see it. Honestly, it looked a little bit too big and too wide. I figured it wouldn't be as good as the Spike Hawk. So if things were to go bad and you had a couple weapons, honestly my first choice would be my Warhammer. This is my training one, so I've cut down the tip here so I don't skewer myself. But this is my training one. I don't think there's a better third weapon. If you're going to have a cutlass and a bowie, and those are your primary weapons you're going to use, your spear, your bow, whatever. Your last kind of weapon, sidearm, would probably be my Warhammer. I don't think there's a better tool for that third weapon than this. But there's a close second. A close second would probably be the Spike Hawk. This is kind of the thing I used before, was a Spike Hawk. If you look at the Spike Hawk, very similar to the Weeping Heart Hawk. Very similar, very similar. But dimensionally, it's a little bit different. The thing, it looked unwieldy when I first saw the picture of it. I looked at it and said, it's going to be super heavy and unwieldy. Not as going to be as nimble, as fast as the Spike Hawk. And boy, was I wrong. So if you actually look at the profile on the Spike Hawk and the Weeping Heart Hawk, that's where the difference is. This is far more narrow. Again, I mistook it. I didn't look at it deep enough. And obviously it's got some aesthetics. You have the Weeping Heart Hawk. It looks very frontierish and antiquish, oldish. So it looks cool. It's got all that on top of that. I look at it for functionality primarily. That's what I look for. And so typically when this is farther off, if you actually look at how much that hooks, it's got a deeper hook than the Spike Hawk. Far deeper. Now this has got a nice hook to it, but that's far deeper. And typically when you get the blade so far away from the shaft of the handle, it becomes head heavy and unwieldy. So I looked at it and said, boy, that's going to be unwieldy. But Coldsteel did me wrong again, or I guess did it right this time, right? And really changed the profile. So you have this long top here, and that's what's great about it. Is there's an advantage of having a very long head like that. Is if you need to push somebody, if you need to block something, that great T-shape is awesome. And it looked unwieldy. Like I said, I was really fearful, but after playing around with it, it throws super well. You can throw it from this end and that end. Both are exceptional. But as a fighting tool, I was shocked. After spending a couple weeks with this thing, I was pretty dead wrong. And that's a good thing. So a couple things addition to that is the spike on the Spike Hawk is more triangular, so it's really made for just the spike. It's not really made for cutting. It's not made for anything else besides that spike. The interesting thing about the Weeping Heart Hawk is it's got a nice, if you look at it, it looks like a knife edge. So it's got a great point, but it's got a cutting edge. And the cutting edge is utility. It's not really razor sharp, and I'm glad it's not like that. But obviously you can pull with it and get a great cut if you need to. So as a weapon, it's pretty darn equal to this, if not better. And it's a close. These are close seconds. I would put these two. Warhammer first would be my first choice, and if I had to go with a second weapon, it would be a toss-up. I'd be happy either way. But I'm starting to lean more towards this because of its additional features. And this is really wide, and it's super narrow here. So how long it would last as a utility tool, I don't know. But boy, as a weapon, it sure serves its purpose. So there you go. We're going to go throw with it, chop a few things, and show you how it throws and performs. Let's get to chopping. See how the edge chops. Okay, I'd say that's pretty good. Okay, come on, little lady. Get some muscles. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. That's pretty good. And again, I think it chops pretty well. Again, it's that thin profile that really lends to chopping. Again, I don't know how long it would last. I'm sure it would last a long time, but I wonder how long it would last as a utility tool, because it doesn't really have the thick stock, and that's very, very narrow. But that also lends to a really super deep chop, far more than I thought. Let's try the spike and see how that goes. You can already tell that wants to bite in there. Ah. Holy mackerel. Okay. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay. So chop's good and the spike is good. So we'll get to throwing here in a second. We'll throw from the edge and from the spike. Again, one of the things people always ask is how many tomahawks should I get, because they always see more than one. And this number will surprise you, but the number is actually 6. I know. People go, what? Because here it is. Listen to this though. So I get 6 tomahawks on every tomahawk I get. I always try to get at least 6. So I get 3 for throwing, because nobody wants to throw, go back, pick it up, and then run back and do that all day long. So 3, you have multiple targets here, so I get 3 hawks just specifically for throwing only. And then I have the 4th tomahawk that I grind down the edges, and I use that as a trainer. So each one of the tomahawks I have, especially my Warhammer, they're beat to heck, because they're just strictly used for training. One is just used for that. So sole purpose is just for training. And number 5, I have one where it's grinded to the specifications I want, and it's specifically only used for one purpose. If the world ends, there it is. That's the tomahawk you're going to take. And then I know this is weird, but I have a 6th tomahawk that I have for just show. I pretty it up. I get a nice, good look on it, so it looks awesome. And so I have that just as a showpiece. And I think there's your 6 hawks right there. So every hawk I try to get, I follow that same routine. At the very minimum, you should have 3 hawks to throw with and 1 hawk to train with. And if you look at it, you really need that 5th one as a war one. So I always look at it as trainer, war, and then for show, and then 3 for throwing. So there you go, 6 hawks. Go out and get 6 of these, because they're well worth it.